Good afternoon. This is Sabio. This is Francis Sabio Jr. It's very nice to meet you. Excuse me, I need to put these glasses on because I lost my spectacles, and these are the only ones that allow me to see the screen clearly. Again, my name is Francis Sabio Jr. Very happy to be here. Today, I wanted to talk about a technology that's used at FIT called Padlet. Okay, Padlet is a wonderful tool. It works very much like an electronic bulletin board. It's web-based, so you can access it from anywhere, and it's very collaborative in nature. Okay, I like to say it does lend to student-centered learning. Okay, it does have all these various features, but you know what? You guys know all about Padlet. What I want to do is be very specific as to how I use Padlet to create a formative assessment. Okay, with a formative assessment, Padlet is perfect because it allows real-time feedback from students that allow me to see and analyze where they are in their understanding of a topic. Let me give you an example. I teach a tech literacy class where students get an education on basic computer hardware, software, history of computers, things of that particular nature. And in that particular class, I have some modules here that explain input devices, output devices, and of course, I/O devices, input output devices. Now, in order for me to have a better understanding or a deeper understanding of the student's comprehension, so I created this Padlet specifically for this class in terms of formative assessment and the way I set it up. You can see here the title, Basic Computers, and I added a prompt, provide an example of an input-output I/O device. I've also created a couple of posts, as you can see, that's a bit incomplete, and we can go and take a look at this gear that allows me to take a look at, again, the heading, Basic Computers, and the description. We have a way of changing the appearance regarding the wallpaper, color scheme, and font. Notice here for posting, author and timestamp, I have that turned on. Okay, I find that's important. I like to know who and when they're posting. I've turned the comments off. And the reactions, I originally had it set to vote. Therefore, the students had a chance to upvote or downvote on a post. But I chose to keep it positive and keep it at a like. So if a student doesn't like it, well, they just don't like it. In terms of content, this doesn't require approval. I'm not going to filter profanity and remakes. I'm just not expecting to have any of those issues. In terms of URL, I can actually copy this URL and it will help in terms of engaging the student. So if I have to paste this URL, whether it's in their Google Classroom, their LMS, or possibly an email, okay, it's pretty easy to do there. In terms of engaging them, right? If you want to engage the students, you have many ways of doing that. You can share this Padlet out. Again, you can copy link to clipboard. Okay, you can get the QR code, which is probably one of my favorites. You can actually download it and print this out and keep it in the classroom or what have you. You can embed your blog, embed into your blog or your website, including your LMS, Brightspace. So if you want this Padlet inside that LMS so the students have no excuse not to be able to access it, you can actually do that. Email and of course social media. These are all different ways of sharing your Padlet. So let's complete this Padlet so that students can understand what is expected of them. And again, examples, right, of input devices. All right, so let me just go ahead and double click on this to edit it. Okay, we want to be clear, so we want input devices there. We'll update that. Double click on output. Again, we want output devices. Okay, good. And I'll double click here, and this will be an I/O devices. Okay, and we'll click on publish. There, I have my 3 categories. You can see I created this just a moment ago, so it says 1 minute here. This was created 34 minutes ago. All right, but that's fine. So what I like to do is, again, because this is a canvas layout, I can move these in any direction and place them anywhere on my screen. And I strategically put them here because I want students to be able to post around this and then, of course, add their connections to their categories. So as I engage the students, as I share this out to the students, you'll see that this becomes populated in real time, and it gives me the opportunity to respond to their input. One way that someone at FIT might use this, let's say you're teaching graphic design and there's a section on logo type assessment. You might have gone through the different types of logos there are available and created a canvas type Padlet yourself. As you can see, I can move this around, and this was purposely placed in the way it was placed, almost in columns, so that my students can add their examples, and as you can see, make those connections. There might be a logo that may belong to both an add illustration and an add element, or maybe all type and add element. For example, FIT. I might be able to click here and make a comment. Say, hey, this might also fall under all type. Great, I added my comment, I close it, and you can see there's a comment here. I'll be able to read it, or whoever posted this should be able to read that comment. And of course, they can also continue to make the connection to that post there in terms of an add element logo. In conclusion, Padlet is an effective way of establishing formative assessment. It allows you to create an environment that's interactive and engaging, allowing students to contribute and collaborate, making for a more enjoyable classroom. Thank you for your time, and I hope you found this tutorial useful. All the best.